So a lot of games that were significant to me were ones I could play on the Nintendo 64. So Mario 64 was one of my favorite games. It was one of the only games I've ever actually finished too, which was great. And then Kingdom Hearts games were something that I really enjoyed growing up. I still got to play the third one, so I'm really excited to enjoy that.
Me too. That's awesome.
So it was around about 2000 and I would say 2012, 2013. We wanted to try and refresh our second floor so that it wasn't, originally it had a lot still of the collections items from Margaret Woodbury Strong and a lot of stuff behind glass, but it wasn't interactive like we were trying to have the rest of the museum be. So from there we actually updated it, and different areas on our second floor focus on different types of play and games. So we have an area of America at Play, which is sort of how American history and play and toys in general influence each other, as well as Play Pals, which focuses on dolls and different stuffed animals. We have Build Drive Go, which focuses on toy boats or those model planes and trains people really enjoy. And of course video games and board games over on this side. So our eGameRevolution area has expanded a bit from our original one, just because we also have expanded our own video game collection. So we have about 60,000 objects in our collection that have to do with video games or electronic objects. So we want to make sure that we refresh the exhibit, and then along with that we've also added our World Video Game Hall of Fame in 2015. So that's also expanded our perspective and view of video games. We look at nominations that we get from all over the globe, and we gather those usually from the internet, sometimes phone calls to our curators of people trying to talk about how significant a certain video game was to them. And we take all that in consideration. We have our own internal advisory committee as well as our international advisory committee, which is made up of different scholars, some journalists who all focus on video games. And from there we're able to pick which games should be inducted into the actual Hall of Fame. This year we inducted Mortal Kombat, which of course was an iconic video game. A lot of people enjoyed, and especially was significant because it came up with a lot of the ratings that we have now, since at the time it was really controversial and actually had Senate hearings about if the video game industry needed to be managed, but now we're able to have those rating systems. We also inducted Microsoft Solitaire, which is something a lot of sort of gamers were like, really, why was that inducted? But for a lot of people that was the first time they actually used a mouse.
Hello, computer. Just use the keyboard. The keyboard. How quaint.
So they were able to learn how to play on a PC. We also inducted Colossal Cave Adventure, which was a text-based game that a lot of people, it was their first video game that they got to play and have an adventure with it. And then on top of that, we also inducted Super Mario Kart, which is still an iconic game with a lot of sequels. So we inducted the original Super Mario Kart into the game. So for different games, we sort of have to take into consideration, should it be the whole genre or should it be just a certain one? So for example, we have Final Fantasy VII inducted into the game, not necessarily this entire franchise, just because that was the first time a lot of those significant characters came out, and the storyline as well.
So you've got some incredible games here at the Strong Museum of Play. Berserk, Cruisin' USA, Afterburner for Sega. Love this game.
So we look at what games have been really popular on the floor, so we make sure that we try to have those always available. So those iconic ones like Pac-Man, Galaga, those ones we try to make sure are always on the floor. And the ones that aren't as popular, but we still feel are significant, we try to switch them out so that they're not played too much. And then with some of those popular ones like Pac-Man, we sometimes will have multiple arcade cabinets of that version so that we can switch them out in case they need to be refreshed or our arcade technician needs to look at them. Yeah, so we've had a lot of great people come to the museum, either with their collections items, such as Carol Shaw. We actually house a lot of her items in the museum. We also have different collection records, like our Atari coin-op records. We actually house those. Those came into giant pallets into the museum, and we actually had somebody working full-time for a year going through all of those records. It was really exciting to have. Then every fall we have a Women in Games event. This year it's going to be on October 3rd and 4th here at the museum. We'll have a lot of luminaries from women who are in the video game industry do lectures about what they do, and also have an interactive talk back with guests, and we're really excited to have that this year.
So I thought I should make a point of saying that this museum is not made up of entirely video games. There's tons of stuff to do. Marcy, you checked out some of the toys.
I did. They had lots of vintage toys and board games and dolls and all kinds of things you can see.
So much to do, but I would have to say the video game area is one of the most impressive areas of the museum. Highlights so many cool games. I saw Rampage in there, I saw Paperboy, I saw Ninja Turtles, all your classic favorites, plus a history of consoles and other video games. I saw Virtual Boy in there, which is one of my guilty pleasures. So many cool things to see here. If you'd like to visit the Strong Museum here in Rochester, I'll leave some information in the description below so you can check out how to get your tickets for this awesome museum. And thanks again for watching another episode of In Search of Video Games.